A tale of two Rutgers teams. Rutgers escapes Blacksburg with a last-minute 26-23 victory. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's get to it.
Okay, what is it tonight? At least just tell me what the hell is wrong. Do you want to eat? Do you want to sleep? Do you want to...
Okay, so Rutgers pulls out a heart-wrenching last-minute 26-23 victory against Virginia Tech. Game didn't start off that way necessarily. Early on it looked like, and we were having our way with Virginia Tech. A little bit of a surprise, almost gleeful when we jumped out to a 14-0 lead. Some things along the way, some missed opportunities caused the game to be a lot closer than it should have. Nonetheless, we abandoned ground and pound for an air raid offense. Athan Kaliakmanis had, I believe, 265 yards passing on 16 of 25 passing. He believed he had 8 or 9 passes of more than 15 yards. One of the keys to the victory in my preview was, for success, we were going to have to do what we're going to do. We know what that is. We want to run the ball. We want to feature Kyle. We want to grind the opposing defense into the ground, hold the ball, prevent their playmakers, Kyron Jones and Bashal Tuten, from making big plays, keeping them off the field and managing them. Didn't turn out that way. We were saved by the passing game. Athan he had no touchdowns, no interceptions, which, by the way, was another key, not turning the ball over. Athan is doing a tremendous job at not making bad decisions, turning the ball over. He went another game without a turnover. The one interception he had against Akron, he's hit on the play. Can't bang him on that. Nonetheless, a lot of downfield passing. Does this represent a change in the philosophy as our new quarterback and our offense grow and become more cohesive together? Or is it specific to the game plan for that day? Virginia Tech, I think if you were going to go into it, you wanted to game plan running against them because their run defense is not great. Yes, I know that there's a fair amount of the rushing yardage against them was by quarterbacks, but still, that's part of the run game, and we have a quarterback, despite not known being a running quarterback like Gavin was. He does have escapability and athleticism and absolutely can execute designed runs. Nonetheless, the passing game was the big factor on offense for us this game, and our playmakers in the wide receiver room or in the receiving room overall, had breakout games. Ian Strong, 4 catches, 110 yards, including the back-breaking 63-yard screen pass on Rutgers' last possession to get us into position to kick the game-winning field goal. Said this before, love me some screen passes. Can we do a little more of those, please? And how bad was our offensive line and quarterback play that in the past few years we couldn't even execute a simple screenplay where we've seen other teams do that against us, including a game against Ohio State at home we could have won when Trayvon Henderson took that back-breaking third down screen pass downfield to get them into scoring position. Love to see that. Daimir, another guy that had a breakout game. 5 catches, just under 100 yards, 98 yards. He was kind of dominating early on, and he was open and getting big chunks. Love to see that. That was the guy we've been waiting for, the go-to guy that is going to establish the rhythm and the tone early on. And then, all of a sudden, Rutgers becoming tight end U. Are we Penn State? Kenny Fletcher, 7 catches, 61 yards. That little drag play across, underneath and across the field was really successful. We kept going to it. Love seeing some creativity, a little change in our playmaking. But I love seeing the utilization of the tight end, which we haven't had in forever. What did we have with Sam Bowman? 4 or 5 catches last year by the tight end position. So far this year, before yesterday, we had 2 touchdowns by tight ends, by Fletcher, which was the most in 3 years. Love having that sort of outlet guy. You could check down to him. Or, just have another weapon in your arsenal. So our pass catchers had a breakout day. On the running game, which in my preview I said would be significant, including Athan being able to have some design quarterback runs or, play pass, kind of scramble out of the pocket to help the running game against Virginia Tech's defense, which was kind of soft against the run, especially with quarterbacks. Didn't work out that way. We had 52 rushes, 153 yards, 2.9 yards per carry. That's kind of something we would have done like 3 years ago, 4 years ago. 3 touchdowns. Kyle had a touchdown, but the big news in this game was Sam. And Sam had a terrific day, scored 2 touchdowns. Loved seeing that he was getting touches early on, and he was getting his 4 to 5 yards a carry. And I love seeing this, not just because, you want to give the ball to Sam to give Kyle some rest or spell him later in the game when you're ahead. I like to see a deeper rotation in a running back room. And we're in a position where we can keep these guys fresh and give some different looks. Sam really good running in between the tackles. And he had 14 rushes for 60 yards. It's about 4.5 yards per carry. That gives us an added dimension. So maybe one aspect of the running game isn't working that day. You can try something else. Kyle, not a great day by his standards. You can see Virginia Tech was selling out. They were shooting the gap. They basically were saying, we're going to do everything we can to stop Kyle. He's not going to get 200 yards against us. You're going to have to beat us a different way. And we did. And this is something that might not have happened in the past. We might have stuck to the game plan. This is what we do. We're going to run the ball. But we did a good job in the passing game, and props to Kirk Shiraka for looking to take those opportunities. Now, they might have overplayed their hand in certain instances during the game. We'll get to that in a little bit. But you have to be able to adjust on the fly, not just at halftime, come back out in the second half. We did a good job. Athan also had he had a couple of good runs, a couple of good scrambles. He only had 11 rushes for 16 yards, but he was sacked 3 times, so those stats count against that. But I'm totally comfortable with him being able to scramble out of the pocket or use a designed run to get a first down. We had a couple of those yesterday. More importantly, from the quarterback position, no turnovers. The narrative about Athan not being accurate and throwing the ball where he shouldn't, that's a dead story this year. Could this style, type, scheme of offense be a transition towards where we want to be and what our identity is going to be? Is this going to be a barometer from the kind of play calling we're going to have now? Where in the past, it was, down and distance was 3rd and down, and maybe it was 4 yards, maybe it was 2 yards. We're going to run the ball, no matter what, you're going to have to stop us. But now, with the passing game and offense having more fluidity and more rhythm, can we do away with those predictable 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 runs? 4th and 1 is going to be a problem later in the game. I'll get to that in a bit. I like seeing this, because now you're less predictable and you're putting the defense on the heels. Okay, what is Rutgers going to do now? They actually have a passing game. They actually have a quarterback who can execute the offense. 16 of 25, 265 yards. Give me more of that. That's about 64, 65%. Athan was 61.7 going into the game. This will get us up around 63. Before the year started, I said if Athan could get to 60% in the passing game and minimize mistakes, this was going to be a successful year, and he's doing that so far. He's got to be around 63% right now. Good job by him. But does this represent an identity change? I know we want to have balance. I know we're always going to want to run the ball. But if teams pick up on what Virginia Tech did against us, shooting the gap, stopping Kyle at any cost, they're going to have to be ready for a new and improved passing game. And it was really, I got to say, it was really strange to watch. I was like, just watching it was like, wow, we're dropping back in the pocket pretty regularly. And those passes they're getting there, and they're accurate. We no longer have to worry about our quarterback dropping back and holding our breath. What's going to happen? It's a pretty strange, kind of personal dynamic. Think about it when you're watching Rutgers last year. Every time Gavin would drop back, not to bang on him too much, you always had to worry. There were times that, on third down and it's 4, 5, 6 yards, I'd be like, please, Gavin, just run the ball. I have more faith and confidence in you to get a first down on 3rd and 5 than passing it. Boy, what a difference a year makes. This could be the start of a transition. The ease and fluidity of the offense just looks a lot more smooth. We will have to be aware of teams, shooting gaps to try and stop the running game. Sam gives us a better opportunity in between the tackles that way than Kyle. But we'll see how that develops going forward. The breaking out of the passing game and our receivers against Virginia Tech was kind of an odd thing to watch, right? You would think the logic is, all right, you want to see how well our new offense, our receiving core does against the Akrons and Howards of the world, right? You might not necessarily reveal the whole playbook, but you want to see what you got. And you're going to get the ball to those guys. And then going into the first big game of the year against Virginia Tech in a tough place to play in their backyard, you might want to be a little more conservative. But for this to be the spot where the passing game and the wide receivers break out, I have to say that's a good thing because you're no longer defensive on offense. You're not worried about just controlling the ball and not turning the ball over, hoping your defense plays well and then making a play in the end. They were aggressive. They were going after it. Kind of bit us in the ass a couple times. Nonetheless, 26-23 victory. If you watch my preview, I had Rutgers being a 27-23 winner. I don't want a bouquet of roses thrown my way. I'm actually kind of upset that we didn't win by 2 touchdowns. We had over 400 yards of offense. Drones and Bayshore 210 did make some big plays, which I said in my preview we couldn't allow them to do. Otherwise they had a good chance in this game, and it almost happened. I much would have preferred us pull away and leave this game in no doubt. This would have been a crushing, defeating loss for Virginia Tech, and we would have been, instead of feeling like a win that's a loss today, we would have been gleeful. We're the real deal. We're now the big dog beating Virginia Tech. It's not 50-0, 49-0 from 24 years ago. We're going to make some waves. I believe the halftime score was 16-7. We missed some opportunities there. Jay Patel, and I always hate seeing this. When you make mistakes or don't take advantage of opportunities against teams, it does and will come back to bite you in the ass. You might be able to get away with it against the Howards and Akrons of the world, missing opportunities. But against good teams like Virginia Tech, I've had that ill feeling from the end of the first half into the third quarter that the momentum was going to shift because of our inability to take advantage of opportunities. And Jay Patel never misses inside 40. Lo and behold, he misses a 36-yarder. Game should have been 17-7 at that point. As good of a game as Kenny Fletcher had, we're moving the ball. There are a lot of times throughout the game where, and this is kind of a different feel as well, you had faith that we were going to be able to move the ball against Virginia Tech. You know, Virginia Tech, their secondary is very good. You know, their front four can be pretty good at times. Had 4 sacks last game. But we had this play, and we were moving the ball downfield. We had this play and pass play. I think it might have been around the 10-yard line. Fletcher catches it, fumbles at the 2-yard line. That could have been the icing on the cake. That should have been a 24-7 halftime lead that I felt that Virginia Tech, even if Jones and 210 made some plays, it was going to be insurmountable as long as we didn't come out in the second half and lay an egg. Instead, we do stop Virginia Tech on their ensuing drive after they recovered the fumble at the 2-yard line. Welcome back Wesley Bailey. Wesley Bailey gets our only sack of the game and safety, getting a good push up front into the end zone. Drones gets knocked down for a safety. We get to 2 points, takes it to 16-7. Along those lines, the defense, haven't watched any post-game film, so I don't know what the pressure was like. It did look like early on Tyreen Powell was active and having a good game. Nonetheless, you got to get to the quarterback more. Got to get the quarterback on the ground. You see what happens when you get the quarterback on the ground. Good things happen for the defense. You get a turnover. You can shift game's momentum. And 16-7, okay, you'll take it going into halftime. This should have been a 17-point lead going into halftime. Come out in the third quarter. You know, it's a little bit nip and tuck. We do score a touchdown to make it 23-7 at that point. It should have been like a 31-7 kind of game, and just Virginia Tech never having any chance. Defense got gashed a little bit by Drones and Bashan Tutel, who had a pretty good game. 15 rushes, 122 yards. He averaged over 8 yards a carry, 3 touchdowns. Last year, he averaged like 5 yards a carry against us. Didn't carry the ball a lot, wasn't the focus of the offense. One of my keys to success in my preview was, hey, don't let him and Drones beat you for big yards, chunk yards, and touchdowns. We didn't do that. It almost bit us in the ass. Yeah, he had that 31-yard rush before the end of the first half that you kind of want to dismiss, but the tackling and the effort on that was not great. That kind of showed up in the second half. 210 had a 23-yard touchdown, got some other nice plays. Virginia Tech had 27 rushes, 183 yards, 6.8 per carry. So our rush defense, was like the Jets, really good defense. Tend to be susceptible to the run. Those RPO ones, quick hitters up the middle. We have to be careful of those, especially when we kind of expect pass. We get beat for some chunk yards. Kyron Drones, we did once again, like last year, did a pretty good job against them passing. He's averaging, about 180 yards passing. We held him to 13 for 27, 137 yards, no touchdowns, and an interception, a big interception by Robert Longerbeam at the end. Another key to victory. Knock Drones around. You can make him make mistakes. We saw on the safety, the sack in the end zone, you get in his face, push him around a little bit, going to make some mistakes. Robert Longerbeam on Virginia Tech's last drive of the game after we took the lead. Longerbeam picks the pass up, gets the interception. So Drones actually had more plays on the ground with his legs, which you kind of expect, than he did in the passing game. Virginia Tech made some plays on the ground. We have to tighten that up a little bit. But, on the other hand, the pass defense, we held Gosnell in check. We held Felton, who killed us last year. We held him in check, and we held Lane in check. He had 2 catches, 38 yards. So that's a pretty good job there. We just, once again, have to manage, the opposition's offense running game to have a better chance of preventing them from making big plays. Another key in my previews, in addition to not turning the ball over, especially at the quarterback position, was getting turnovers. And part of that is part of the pressure game. You knock the quarterback around, force them to do things they don't want to do. Virginia Tech had 3 fumbles. They lost 2 of them. Under those circumstances, where you managed the passing game, got the turnovers, we should have had a double-digit win, and we have some things to work on there. Now, positive side is you have to win these kind of games. They're not going to all be works of art. You have to show that you have grit and determination and keep grinding. Coach in the post-game press conference said, look, chop isn't just a thing. It's not just a saying. It's an attitude, a psychology. It's approach that when stuff hits the fan, and it does, that you're ready to go. He said when he looked at the guys' eyes in the huddle, the end of the fourth quarter, they had that look. They had that, eye of the tiger look. Some teams don't have it. Some teams do, and this one does. So good job by them by sticking with it. The play calling, I love that we were aggressive, that 4th and 1 play call, and I think at the time we might have been up 23-7, 4th and 1. If we go for it in the past and we're not like, at the 6-yard line or 7-yard line, that's, Gavin running the ball or Kyle running the ball. We decided to throw the pass, didn't look good, didn't have a chance. It's kind of rushed, ball landed a little bit short. I get what you're trying to do. You have momentum, building confidence. Okay, this is something new for us. We're going to put the nail in the coffin against Virginia Tech in their backyard and make it 30-7. I probably wouldn't have gotten cute and just kick the field goal and make it 26-7. And it was another time. A lot of people were critical of Jay Patel going for a 53-yard field goal. And their coach in the post-game press conference said he hit some 53-yarders in warm-ups. Who knows? Knowing the way that coach likes to play it, he wants to get that punt inside the 10-yard line. That might have been a way to go. But the defense, wasn't dominating. If the defense was dominating and Virginia Tech wasn't doing much of anything, I would have said, okay, go for it. But the defense bent yesterday, did not break. For most of the game, they did an okay job. It was just a few series where Drones and 210, got some big chunk yards. And when a team's big playmakers start making plays, that could kind of put you in a precarious position, and that's where we wound up. In the end, you need to win those kind of games, and we did, and we're 3-0. And you can't make those sort of play calling, execution mistakes against Washington because they're going to be much better than we think they are. And this is a team that, still has a lot of talent. So we got to tighten things up, and hopefully we can run the ball against them a little more effectively while continuing our effective passing game and have some balance for the blackout game this Friday night. Can't wait for that. That should be killer. I'll be following up during the week with some more insights from this game and a preview of Washington. Nonetheless, we'll take the 26-23 victory. Had some really good things, a couple bad things, and one or two ugly things we got to work on. Nonetheless, good job by Rutgers football and the coaching staff for looking outside the box and figuring out a different way to kind of execute. Everybody enjoy your week, and we will see you the next time.